Whatever happened to baby jet lag?
I know. Whatever happened to baby jet lag? But Steve, we want to talk about something a little bit quite a heavy one actually.
Dark? Yeah. Um, an Air India pilot who was 36 years old died unexpectedly of a heart attack.
Mm,
And it's pointed to the pilot's conditions because they're flying frequently. And I'd imagine, with an international airline, you're frequently flying across time zones. I don't know Air India's destinations.
mm,
I'd imagine they'd have a lot of European ones, a few in the Asia Pacific, maybe the US, I don't know. I don't think so because it's so far to fly. But jet lag has real consequences. And, I don't like to get heavy with people, but jet lag is a lot more than being sleepy in the daytime and wide awake at night. Jet lag has real consequences.
and
Um,
and 36 is way too young for.
Way too young, way too young. So the pilots union is understandably upset and they're saying, hey, you need to do something about conditions. And it's really important. Jet lag. Now, most business travelers won't fly as much as pilots,
Mm,
hopefully. But still, there is that risk. And still, we know that jet lag leads to higher rates of heart attacks and strokes.
yeah.
Deep vein thrombosis is a problem for people. Diabetes has been shown to link to having your circadian rhythm go out of whack, and some of the coping mechanisms that people result in addiction.
Mm,
So, for example, people are, well, I can't sleep. I'll just have a bit of wine, bit of scotch, maybe a couple of pills, and it goes on from there.
mm,
So
yeah.
that's why I really want to take jet lag very, very seriously. And that's why I implore people. That's why, I want to transform the conversation around jet lag. It's easy to modify, it's easy to fix, but you've got to fix it.
And it is like, as customers, I think we need to stop complaining about, canceling flights because the pilot have been flying for a lot of hours. Because from my understanding is that like if there's delay with the flight, but then there's only a number of hours that a pilot can fly every day or every period of
I
time.
think there is. I think they might push it a bit too far. The last time I was on a cancelled flight, I was flying Sydney to Melbourne, and there was a massive electrical storm, like, thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening thing. No, but it was massive. And the baggage handlers weren't going out to handle the baggage in that because they were in danger of being hit by
Yeah.
lightning. And there had been deaths from that previously,
Jeez.
some years ago. And fair enough. So I was
Yeah.
delayed 5.5 hours. I was so grateful I got home that night because I had week one of teaching the next morning. And they were cancelling. All the flights to Perth got cancelled. This was coming from Sydney back to Melbourne. All the flights to Perth were cancelled, and I'm nervously, but I got in very, very late at night, and then I had to prepare a lesson. Like at 10:30 at
Wow.
night, I had to prepare the lesson, which I'd done before, and most of it's introduction stuff. And like, okay, we'll do some icebreakers and stuff. Um,
It's very important that like we appreciate of the work of people in the transport industry. And of
yeah,
course, like like what you're doing is fantastic because you're starting and raising the conversation about
yeah,
that like can be harmful.
yeah, and really harmful. It's not, a little thing that people can have. So there are some
And
serious health risks associated with jet lag.
well, and as we talked about before, it can affect people's relationship as well. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah. People can have a real relationship strain due to jet lag because one partner's traveling. When they get
okay,
back, they're really not present. So that's,
zombified.
yeah,
Well,
and that
actually,
causes a
oh,
strain.
sorry, go on. Yeah. It's a great segue because you have an app that can help individuals to work
I
with
do.
patient. Can you tell us more
I
about that?
We have an app called End Jet Lag, and it's been designed with a friend of mine, and he's the app developer. And it provides advice on jet lag. So it does the calculation. So let's say you're flying to New York and you want to do the maths. It does the arithmetic for you, but any app can do that. That's really basic stuff for an app. But what this app does that's unique is you can find out your morning, this evening's profile, and then it will offer tailored advice specifically for you. So the direction of flight, etc.
Right.
So tailored advice. So that's what I'm looking at.
And
Um,
would the app available on Android and iPhone?
Android and iPhone, yes.
Yep.
So I'll put the links on the screen, that the QR codes for iPhone and for Android, and it's quite a cheap app. Only a few dollars American,
Mhm.
so it's quite inexpensive, and there's no subscription fee. That's
It's
that's an
one-off.
easy. It's a one-off. I think that's fair. You'll get value out of more than other more expensive apps that I think give you less.
There you go. Well, let's talk behind the scene a little bit because you for in addition to this podcast and many of the things that you do, you have a quite a good social media presence.
Well, I use three platforms, and I've restricted. There are so many social media platforms, and it really depends on whether that social media platform is a good fit for your business.
Mm,
So, for example, Instagram's not a great fit. Nothing wrong with Instagram, it's a great platform, but it's very visual. And what I do isn't terribly visual.
hmm.
Whereas, say if you're a florist or a baker and you're doing amazing bouquets or big cakes, that's a visual thing, and Instagram is your natural choice. So I have LinkedIn as the
Yep.
primary. There's me personally, Dr. Stephen Jasper, and the jet lag guy. So they're the two, and I use both. I have Blue Sky because I don't feel comfortable with using X/Twitter right now. It's Yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but I just
Yeah.
feel a little uncomfortable with that
I think
medium, the direction it's heading. So
yeah.
no,
Well, look at it
um,
for
I
like
have an account there, but I don't use it. So Blue Sky, and it's much smaller than Twitter, so I don't get much reach. Blue Sky is probably the one I you know could let go of the most easily. And I have, of course, a YouTube channel, which is what you're seeing us on. It's a repository for my videos. I've got all my videos up there, so dozens and dozens of videos. So you can go back, you can see me on TV, whatever. We've got this podcast series, and I've got the End Jet Lag series where I interview thought leaders in the area of jet lag.
well, I
So,
mean, another great thing is that on especially for NJetlag series is that you always make sure you tag the guest, and it's important because on social media when you tag different people, you're connecting the profiles together.
oh, I have a tagging story.
Oh no!
I do. Um, So I shared an article. It was about astronauts flying around the Earth every 90 minutes, right?
Hmm.
So you can't have a circadian rhythm that, functions easily when there's a sunset, then 45 minutes later there's a sunrise, and 45 minutes later there's a sunset. And like that's, absolutely insane. So they have to take precautions. So these astronauts and a journalist from the Washington Post interviewed two of these astronauts.
Hmm.
So I shared the article, tagged the writer, tagged the newspaper, the Washington Post, and then tagged the two astronauts. And within minutes, one of the astronauts liked it. So I'm reaching NASA.
Lovely.
So absolutely tag, 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 tag. Tag. This is how I find people and how they find me, because I'll share something I think, oh, that's useful. I'll tag the author, I'll tag the newspaper or TV station or whatever the media outlet. I'll tag any experts that have interviewed, and that gives you awareness as well. That's a lot of fun. So I think it helps boost. So absolutely tag. If someone's saying something relevant that you agree with, put a tag on it. Just put the little at sign and then wait for their name to call up.
And the other thing is, it's actually a great way to acknowledge someone else's work that
Yeah, you're
you've,
acknowledging.
yeah.
And I find my work, it goes into various fields. Recently, because I had an astronaut, there was a Catholic publication talking about the
Oh,
late Pope Francis and asked, was he jet lagged? Because he
oh
traveled
wow.
so much, and his life was dedicated to his service. All nice things. So I tagged the Catholic publication, and I tagged the woman who wrote it. Um, you know, because now you've stepped onto my turf. There's a link, and I'm not Catholic. I wasn't raised Catholic, but I'm finding there's a lot of things that intersect with my work, and I tag them, and that's it's a nice thing to do that.
Well, I mean, for those that who are interested in starting a conversation with you or finding a social media to tag you, where should
Mhm.
they head to?
Well, come to my website www.jetlagguy.com.au and my email and my cell phone number there. It's +61 for Australia, so that's where that is. And you can also find me on LinkedIn and on Blue Sky and on YouTube. So that's where I am.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Arthur.
Thank you. This is fun.